So today we're going to take a cold and flu IQ test of sorts. We're, of course, right in the middle of cold and flu season. All of our staff backstage has legitimately been talking about this because it's one of the worst cold and flu seasons on record. Here to help us stay healthy, yes, she's beautiful and she's a real doctor. This is Dr. Bojana Yankovic-Weatherlead. I actually have known her for years.
Now, in terms of some facts between cold and flu, what are the differences?
They are two
what do
different
they mean?
things,
They're
right?
two different things, exactly. So they're both caused by different viruses, and they're both upper respiratory infections. So when we think of cold and flu, we think of symptoms of the nose, nasal passages, sinuses, and sore throat. And now, typically with a cold, it can be caused by a number of different respiratory viruses, and the symptoms are typically milder. So yes, you might have runny nose, congestion, sore throat, a cough, but it's not as big of a deal. Maybe a mild fever, but that's about it.
It's not as dramatic as...
Not as
right.
dramatic, exactly. We're still contagious the first 3 days of getting it, but actually the virus still sheds up to 2 weeks. So you still, even if you're feeling better, you could still transmit it to other people. So it's really important to be careful around the people that you're interacting with. Now, when it comes to the flu, it's a different story. It's more severe. It involves all of the same symptoms of congestion, sore throat, cough, but it typically is accompanied by a high fever. We usually get those terrible body and
horrible
muscle
body
aches.
ache, and you just keep like cringing. Oh, I hate it.
Exactly. You're practically bedridden. And
Oh God, I just made myself fake sick and it freaked me out.
I know, it's awful. It can really be awful. And it can last about a week or so, but it could go longer than that as well. And what's particularly important is, especially for people who have chronic disease, such as asthma, heart disease, or diabetes, it's more likely to lead to complications such as pneumonia or hospitalization.
And it can be life-threatening.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're dealing with a much more serious bug, of course, caused by influenza viruses. Now, when it comes to bacterial infections, oftentimes I'll have a patient come in and say, you know, I've had these symptoms for about a week. Do you think I should go on antibiotics? Typically, the answer is no. We have specific guidelines that can help us distinguish whether something is bacterial or viral. And some of these things are oftentimes, you know, you might have symptoms of a viral infection, they start to get better, and then they get worse. This is often an indication that there might be something bacterial going on, and that's when we definitely want to consider treating with antibiotics.
And if you take antibiotics, you need to take the entire course of them, right?
Exactly,
Right.
exactly, absolutely. And then some of the other guidelines that we have, so here actually, oftentimes if the symptoms are about 10 days or more, and associated with a high fever, as well as here are the sinuses that I'm outlining in a very kind of simplistic way, but a lot of sinus pain, pressure, that typically indicates a bacterial
Your face literally aches.
Exactly,
Right.
Your face aches, you're having a fever, symptoms 10 days or more, or just severe symptoms, we think likely bacterial rather than viral. Now, some of the other things, when we think about strep throat, we think about whitish
spots.
Exactly.
Right.
We think about these whitish spots. We
A
think
coating
about,
on your tongue. Yep.
Right, exactly. And also, this is a neck, and if I can draw these little neck lymph nodes that tend
Swollen
to get
glands.
swollen and tender. Exactly.
And that's bacterial.
And that's bacterial typically. It's usually accompanied with a fever, and actually there's no cough, no other symptoms. This is kind of these are the main symptoms.
And that's when you need a course of antibiotics.
Exactly, exactly. So that's when you should really see your doctor because it seems to be more bacterial rather than viral. Now, what are some of the other red flags that we should know about when it comes to these symptoms? Well, if you have a fever greater than 101.4 and it's not going down, definitely see your doctor. If you're having fevers for 5 days or more, again, see your doctor. If symptoms are severe, such as that really severe facial pain, sinus pressure.
It's crippling, yeah.
It is, it is. It can be really bad headaches. Definitely see your doctor because it could be bacterial. And then, of course, any shortness of breath, any wheezing, really terrible productive cough. Again, something you should
That's another thing men do. They wait too long, right? They self-diagnose,
Exactly.
They stay home and be miserable, and they wait until it's really horrible before they go to the doctor.
Exactly, absolutely. They
Boy,
put it off,
I hope John's not watching today. I don't want to go home.